The movie begins in 1956 in Chicago, where an elderly man named Leonard Burling owns a small, quiet clothing shop. Leonard was originally from Britain and had moved to America several years earlier. Before relocating, he spent many years working at one of London's most respected fashion houses. After leaving England for personal reasons, he settled in Chicago and opened his own tailor shop. Leonard later hires a young woman named Mabel Shawn as his assistant.
Mr. Boyle?
He often shares the secrets of making the best clothing, stressing that the first step is accurate measurement. Getting it right matters more than anything, he says. You must understand who you are making the garment for before you even start cutting the fabric. Mabel helps around the shop, greeting customers and attending to their needs, while Leonard carefully measures clients, observing how they carry themselves, what they like, and what they try to hide. Leonard's shop quickly becomes famous throughout Chicago for its high-quality clothing, attracting wealthy families for custom suits and tailoring. Among their regular customers is the Boyle family, a powerful mafia organization. The Boyles often visit the shop, sometimes placing orders and sometimes collecting messages from the shop's mailbox. Leonard installed the mailbox, officially for customer notes, but it serves another secret purpose. One evening, the Boyle, only son, Richie Boyle, arrives with his trusted associate, Francis, to retrieve letters from their contact. Leonard remains calm, focused on his tailoring, showing no interest in their presence or the letters. Richie asks if a suit Leonard is making is for his father.
Oh, wow, it's a nice one. Yeah, it's really nice. You making that for my pops?
Not this one.
You're making those fine dreads for somebody else? Who?
Master Rishi, you know I can't talk about my gentleman.
Is that what we are? You gentlemen. Whoa, get a load of English. Keeping his lips shut tight.
While sorting through the messages, Francis finds a letter from a criminal group known as the Outfit. Due to its sensitive nature, Richie asks Leonard to step out so they can discuss it. While waiting in the lobby, Leonard notices a box and asks Mabel what's inside. She shows him a small snow globe featuring London, explaining that it came from someone she knows. Mabel enjoys collecting snow globes of famous landmarks like Paris, London, and Barcelona because she dreams of traveling beyond Chicago. She also wonders why Leonard, who could live anywhere, chose Chicago. Leonard asks what is wrong with Chicago.
What's wrong with you?
And Mabel explains that she dislikes the city and hopes to travel someday to Madrid, Barcelona, Morocco, and Paris. After Richie and Francis finish their business and leave,
See you tomorrow.
Leonard and Mabel remain folding garments. Leonard mentions that a man from the clock shop next door wanted to be introduced to her, but Mabel shows no interest, already emotionally involved with someone else. Leonard notices that Mabel may have developed a connection with Richie, seeing the subtle signs of flirting. He warns her to remain cautious, explaining that Richie belongs to a violent mafia family. Mabel admits she understands the danger. During their conversation, Mabel tells Leonard that she knows he wants her to train under him and become a great tailor, but she plans to leave someday. Leonard assures her she can be herself and does not need to follow in his footsteps. He points out that her folding technique is sloppy and warns her that a raise will depend on improving basic skills. After the shop closes, Mabel goes home while Leonard stays late, working. Later that night, he falls asleep at his desk and dreams of fire and loss. He is awakened by the shop door opening. Mabel and Richie have returned to spend time together privately, confirming Leonard's suspicions. Richie shares information about Francis, his adopted brother, saying that Francis suspects someone in the Boy organization of betraying them to a rival mafia group, La Fontaine. Richie admits his resentment toward Francis, who his father, Roy Boyle, trusts more than him. Leonard listens quietly, accidentally making a noise that alerts them. Mabel guides Richie out to avoid disturbing Leonard. The next morning, Mabel and Leonard resume their work, with letters arriving as usual. A few days later, Richie and Francis return to collect mail and find another envelope from the Outfit, containing a letter and a cassette tape. They leave immediately to report it to Roy Boyle. That evening, Richie is shot in the stomach during an attack by La Fontaine members, and Francis brings him back to Leonard's shop. Francis asks Leonard to apply pressure to the wound. Leonard hesitates, explaining that he is not a doctor, but eventually agrees to help using his limited experience. The procedure is painful, and Richie loses consciousness. but Leonard manages to stop the bleeding. Francis seals the cassette into a suitcase and asks Leonard to watch Richie, but Leonard refuses, wanting to stay out of the Boyle family's affairs. Francis insists Leonard is already involved and explains the urgency of protecting the tape, which contains wiretapped recordings implicating a traitor in the Boyle family. Several mafia groups want the tape to destroy the Boyles, making its protection critical. Francis warns Leonard that if the police come, he may need to, quote, get rid of them. After Francis leaves, Leonard notices blood on a suit and replaces the fabric. Richie wakes, thanks Leonard, and asks about Francis. Leonard explains that Francis went to get a cassette player and believes the betrayer may be someone close to the family. Leonard recalls that Roy was his first customer and a man who valued quality clothing. Leonard then subtly manipulates the situation, suggesting that Francis could be the traitor, nudging both Richie and Francis into distrust. The argument escalates, leading to a struggle over the tape. During the chaos, the suitcase is empty. Richie draws a gun and demands the tape, accusing Francis of betrayal. Francis insists on his loyalty to Roy, while Richie admits his long-standing resentment. Throughout, Leonard calmly observes, explaining to Richie the difference between a tailor and a cutter, his own profession, and how his years of elite training on Savile Row prepared him for precision and discipline in his craft. He shares that he moved to Chicago because after the war, London men could no longer afford luxury, and a new trend, blue jeans, had emerged. Leonard emphasizes that what he makes is timeless, not subject to trends. The tension between Richie and Francis continues, with arguments over who should play the tape and whether to wait for Roy, escalating into a physical struggle as the situation spirals out of control. Richie's attention shifted for a moment during the argument. Francis fired next, striking Richie in the neck and killing him instantly. Francis told Richie that he did not die because he was slow, arrogant, or made a mistake. He died because he was weak. Leonard froze in shock. Francis demanded to know where the tape was, but Leonard claimed he did not know. Francis searched quickly, but could not find it. Soon after, Roy Bull arrived at Leonard's shop with his men. Francis grew nervous and asked Leonard to help hide Richie's body and delay Roy's entry so he could clean the blood from the floor. While Leonard answered the door for Roy, Francis scraped away the blood. By the time Roy reached the back, the floor was clean, and Francis had time to invent a story explaining Richie's absence. Roy asked where Richie was. Francis claimed Richie had taken a tape connected to the outfit and had gone to find it. Roy demanded to know why Francis hadn't followed him, but Francis explained that Richie refused to listen and had told him to wait. Roy made several calls but could not find Richie and grew worried about both his missing son and the tape. Francis suggested looking for Richie, but Roy ordered him to go. Though Francis hesitated, afraid Roy might discover Richie's dead body, he eventually left. While waiting, Roy spoke with Leonard, asking if he learned his skills on Savile Row. Leonard confirmed, and Roy's eyes moved around the room before landing on a suit. He asked why Leonard had moved to Chicago. Leonard said it was because of blue jeans, causing Roy to laugh at the clever answer. Roy showed Leonard his gun, comparing the lives he had taken to pieces of fabric discarded while making a suit, saying it was necessary to shape the neighborhood he was building. With this, I've built loyalty. I've built a crew. I've built a neighborhood. Roy then spoke about the Outfit, the largest criminal organization with operations across Europe and the United States. He explained that the Boyle family had been offered an alliance because they were the only group willing to openly fight La Fontaine. The Outfit had provided an FBI wiretap recording to help identify a traitor within the Boyle family. Leonard, confused, asked why Roy shared such sensitive information with him. Roy revealed that he knew Richie had never left the shop. His coat was still inside, and Roy was certain Leonard was hiding something. He called over one of his men and demanded the truth. Leonard explained that Francis had warned him not to tell Roy the truth. Before Leonard could respond further, Francis entered holding Mabel at gunpoint. Fearing for her safety, Leonard quickly invented a story.
He said he was embarrassed, ashamed. He said he had to go.
Roy questioned Francis about bringing Mabel, and Francis suggested she might know something because of her relationship with Richie. Leonard assured Francis that Mabel had never betrayed them.
No.
Francis began beating Mabel, trying to force answers, but Leonard intervened. Roy and Francis ignored him, dragging Mabel into another room. Leonard, feeling sick, stepped outside for air.
Hey, where do you think you're going?
Nobody's going anywhere until we find my boy.
Mr. Boyle, sir, I can't. I'm sorry.
I'll send you away right now.
Oh, settle.
I know you...
Leonard explained he understood the pain of searching for someone and losing them. He revealed he had not moved to Chicago for blue jeans, but because his wife and daughter had died in a fire. He now thought of Mabel as his own child and could not let her be harmed. At that moment, the phone rang.
Go get it.
Leonard answered and told Roy the call was from Richie, who said he was hiding from LaFontaine and gave a location for pickup. Roy left with his men, leaving Francis behind to watch Leonard and Mabel. Leonard then revealed the truth. He had deliberately given a false address so LaFontaine's men would ambush Roy. He also revealed that Mabel was the traitor. She had gained access to the Boyle family's private information through her relationship with Richie and passed it to LaFontaine for money. Anticipating the Boyles would eventually discover her, Mabel worked with the FBI to arrange wiretaps and plan the family's arrest. Leonard had known all along but chose not to interfere, understanding her motivations. Francis, stunned, demanded to know if Mabel had taken the tape. Leonard explained he had hidden it to protect her. Leonard then proposed a plan. Mabel would call LaFontaine to reveal Francis's location, allowing them to ambush him.
Mabel can tell the LaFontaines where to ambush him and offer to sell them the tape. Now tell me, if Roy Boyle and all his senior lieutenants die tonight, who will be in charge of his organization?
Francis resisted, fearing betrayal of Roy, but Leonard warned that if they did not act, Roy would discover Richie was dead and everyone would die. Cornered, Francis allowed Mabel to call LaFontaine. She made a deal to exchange the tape for cash. When LaFontaine arrived to pay, Leonard and Mabel used a coded signal to betray Francis. As Francis tried to shoot LaFontaine, Leonard revealed the gun had been emptied, and LaFontaine's men shot Francis multiple times, leaving him for dead. Afterwards, Leonard told Mabel everything. He had made the tape himself and put it in the mailbox under the name of the outfit to trick the Boyle family. The tape given to LaFontaine was fake and only had Leonard's voice. He recorded everything so Mabel could give it to the FBI later, helping take down both the Boyle and LaFontaine families. Leonard told Mabel to leave Chicago and travel the world with the money she earned. She asked him to go with her, but he said no, telling her not to waste her youth caring for an old man. Mabel said goodbye and left. That night, Leonard packed his things and set his shop on fire to destroy all evidence. Suddenly, Francis, still alive, shot Leonard in the arm and tried to stab him. Leonard revealed his past. He had once been violent like Francis. He showed his tattooed arms and explained that after a job he couldn't finish, he moved to London. There, he met his wife and daughter, who were later killed in a fire by old associates. Broken, he moved to Chicago, where fate led him to the Boyle family. As Francis lunged at him, Leonard dodged and stabbed him in the neck with his shears, killing him instantly. Leonard walked away from the burning shop, leaving Chicago to start a new life. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to subscribe, and see you next time.